small number, and if we use positive exponents to display a really, really big number, we will use negative exponents to show the numbers that are to the right of the decimal point. Okay, today all we do is positive. We don't get any negative exponents. Tomorrow we will. So all I do, if I have 3 4s right here, and I have 2 4s right here, how many 4s do I have?
5 4s.
I have 3 plus 2 4s, which is how many 4s? 5 4s.
Wait, that's all we do?
Yes.
Are we going to learn how to do the variables as the
Yes. Yeah. Now, do we have to evaluate this? It doesn't say so. If we have to evaluate, what would we do? We would go 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Now, would I make you work that out? No. Because what kind of button do we have on the scientific calculator? We have a button, x to the y power, and we can plug that in and find the answer. I'm not asking y'all to do that today. Now, let's go through it. Here's the common mistake that students make. They multiply 4 times 4, and they write 16, and then they add the exponent. Right, but on your homework it won't. This is the notes. Okay, so, but students will take 4 times 4 and write 16 to the 7 plus 11 power. That's making it more complicated than what it is. If you've got 7 4s, and then you've got another 11 4s, how many 4s do you have? 18. And that's it, just 4 to the 18th power. Now, the difference between this and this, here we have variables that have exponents. Now, we also have coefficients. Are they the same?
Yes.
No. 2 and 7 are not the same, right? Just 2 or 7 have exponents.
Yes.
No, 2 doesn't have an exponent, 7 doesn't have an exponent. Okay? So what you will see is that we can here, we multiply the coefficients. They're not the same number. And they don't have an exponent. So here, this is where students get confused. You don't multiply here, but you do here. But there's a difference.
Because those don't come with the same.
Right. Okay. So now what we do is we're just going to take 2 times 7. How many x's do we have? We have 2 x's here, and we have 6 x's here. So we're taking 2 times 7 times x to the 8. Can we simplify 2 times 7? Yes, it's 14, and then we have x to the 8. Can we evaluate that? No. Because we don't know what x is. Yes.
Why would you multiply it for variables but not without variables?
Because this is saying, because you don't have variables here, this is just saying I have 7 4s, and this is saying I have 11 4s. How many 4s do I have?
So it still wouldn't change the answer because you
Nope.
still have to find
But if you put 16 to the 18th, 16 18 times is way different than 4 18 times.
So it still
take 2x to the third times x, I have 2x to the 4th. On 28, if I take 1x times another 4x's, how many x's do I